Right, welcome to Yin Yoga, and we're going to be traveling in first class today, no economy style. So for those of you who've been on long trips in economy, let's start with that laid back, on the back start to class, and have your usual props with you today. Somewhere handy: strap, blocks, bolster. Come back onto the back and stretch the legs out. Take a deep breath in and let go with a sigh or an exhale. So a lot of our work in Yin Yoga is about letting go. It's not about the effort. It's about letting the body open up in its own way. And this is where the props in Yin Yoga can be so helpful. So as you lie here and let the legs stretch out, notice how the low back slightly arches into a lumbar curve. The inguinal canal is open. Feel the shoulder blades relax, palms face up, of course. And when the majority of the body relaxes like this, it's a good moment to always turn the head gently to the left and then the right. Bring the head back to neutral, just noticing how the cervical spine feels. Gently bend the knees, lift the hips, and take your block onto its lowest setting. I call that shoebox size or baby bear. And bring the hips down onto the block, and one at a time stretch the legs out again. So you'll notice with the hips elevated, the front of the body opens up a little more. And at the same time, we want to have that feeling of ease, effortlessness. Now, if your head is on a blanket or a towel at this point, you might want to lower the thickness. When we elevate the pelvis, we want to try and keep the cervical spine aligned with the thoracic spine. We don't want the head curved too much by having it elevated. Feel the hip flexors stretch out. So once again, if we're flying economy, we don't get this luxury. But if we're in first class, we can stretch out the inguinals, the front of the belly, the abdominals. And as long as the person behind you doesn't matter, reach back with the arms, back of the hands resting on the floor, palms face up. Feel that sense of being on the rack. This doesn't have to be an excessive stretch. Once again, looking for delicious discomfort is really the goal here as we hold the pose. Keep the back of the neck long. Feel the stretch through the abdominals. And notice the contrast here when you try to turn the cervical spine, when you try to turn the head left and right. There's a whole different world of sensation opens up. Turn the other way. Bring the head to neutral, keep the back of the neck long. Let the breath slow down. Let the breath catch up to the shape. Let the breath become steady. At any time with your hips elevated, if this gets too much, come off your block. You could come onto a blanket or you could come down to the mat altogether. Let's pick up the left knee here. Hug the left knee into the ribs. Point the toes of the right foot so the right leg is in triple extension. Have a firm squeeze. It doesn't have to be excessive, but you want that knee pulling back towards the ribs so you create extra opening in the inguinal canal. As you point the toes, you feel the ankle open up, the top of the ankle. Now some people, as you squeeze back, that right leg will be suspended in the air. For others, the heel will be on the ground. If the foot is suspended in the air, rotate the ankle, the right ankle. And if the right heel is on the ground, windshield wiper it. If you're rotating, rotate the opposite direction. If you're windshield wipering, point and flex, point and flex. Point out a little more with that right toe. Point, reach with that right leg. Squeeze back with the left knee for 5, 4, 3, 2. Gently release the left knee. Left foot floats back to the floor. Three or four breaths of recovery here as you simply feel and notice the sensations in your legs and hips, and maybe the low back. Pick up the right knee. Carefully squeeze the right knee back. After all that extension in the right hip flexor, it might be a little tender. Squeeze a little more and start to extend the left leg out. Point the toes of the left foot. Reach with the left toes. Squeeze with the right knee. You feel this double direction, opposite directions. Right knee comes towards the head, left toes away from the head. Reach. If the left foot is off the ground, you can rotate the left foot. If the left foot is on the ground, you can windshield wiper it. So when you travel cramped up in an aeroplane for long periods of time, the ankle joint also gets very restless. The calf muscles get tight, the quads. If you're rotating the foot, rotate the opposite direction. If you're windshield wipering, turn it into point and flex. Gently release the right knee. Stand both feet on the mat. Lift the pelvis and rotate the block 1 notch higher so the block is on its side. So for those who need to know what that looks like, it's on shoebox on the side. The wide edge of the block comes from sit bone to sit bone. So you're up high in a supported bridge. By this time, you won't need anything under the head except a very thin veneer. You don't want the head lifted when the hips are up this high. Extend the legs out, one at a time. Reach the arms over the head, palms face up. So repeating what we just did at a higher level. Always checking in with your own body that it's appropriate. If it's too intense, come back to the previous level. We won't be as long in these levels. Pick up the left knee, hug the left knee towards the ribs. Point the right toe, reach with the right leg out. I think most of us at this point, that right leg should be hovering as you squeeze the left knee. If not, once again, rotate ankle if it's hovering, windshield wiper if it's not. If you're windshield wipering, point and flex. If you're rotating, rotate the other way. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and release the left knee, left foot to the ground. Check in for a moment. How do you feel? Right knee up. Left leg extended. Squeeze right knee, extend left leg. Work your ankle joint as per the other directions. Switch. Release the right knee. Bend both knees and lift the hips up and hold the hips up. Hold the hips up. Move the block out of the way. So just holding bridge pose here. And as you hold bridge pose, be conscious of your knees. Try to keep the weight evenly distributed on the big toe mound and little toe mound and the heels. And as you do that, you feel the hips rise up more. Try to engage the glutes here. So less hamstring lift and more glute lift. Feel those legs. Exhale, slowly come down. Slowly come down. Pick up both knees. Hold both knees towards your ribs and gently rock from side to side. Keep rocking from side to side, but bring the hands out 90 degrees, palms face down. And rock all the way over to the left side, but keep your right hand, right shoulder on the ground. If the left knee is off the ground, bring something under it like a blanket or a cushion. Try to ground down that left knee. And your left hand can reach up and grab the right knee and pull it down towards the left knee. So you go deeper into that lumbar rotation using the left hand, pulling down on the right knee, if that's available to you. Turn the head to the left initially. And then to the right. Settle down your breathing. Slow the breathing. You can exhale through pursed lips, inhale through the nose. And see if you can slow down the exhale. Longer exhale. Bring the head to neutral, release the hand from the knee, and slowly come onto your back. Bring the soles of the feet together, knees out to the side. Come into butterfly. And the other big area that gets very uncomfortable on long plane flights is the neck and shoulders. So clasp the hands underneath the back of your head. Exhale, stand the feet together, knees together, lift the head up and hold the head. Hold the back of the head firmly between your hands. Wrap your forearms around the skull. As you breathe out, sit up a little higher. And as you sit up a little higher, pull up the back of the skull. Keep pulling it up, opening the shoulder blades. Use all your strength here. The skull enjoys this kind of release. You might even turn the head slightly left and right as you squeeze, releasing the tightness in the back of the neck here. Slowly lower down. Release the hands to the side, palms face down, 90 degrees out from the shoulders. Lift the knees up 90, shins parallel to the ground, and rock the hips from side to side. This time bringing the knees all the way over to the right side. If the right knee is not grounded, prop it up with something. Right hand can pull that left knee down to increase the intensity in that lumbar twist and the left thigh, left glute. Turn the head right. Sweeten the breath, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through pursed lips, turn the head left. Keep the breath sweet. Long, gentle, drawn out exhale. Inhale, head to neutral, knees to neutral. Come back to butterfly. Soles of the feet together, knees out to the side. Clasp the hands under the head. Lift the tailbone. Push the elbows into the floor. Lift the chin. Arch the spine. Exhale, stand the feet on the mat, knees together. Lift the head. Exhale again, lift the head a little higher. Keep the low back imprinted into the mat. Wrap the skull. Strongly lift the back of the skull. And gently turn head left and right with that neck traction. Gently lay the head down, release the hands, and roll to one side, curl up into a little ball. Gently press up onto all fours, facing the top of your mat. Come into tabletop and then cat and cow. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Oh, feel the spine after all that work. Whew. Oh, yeah. Bring the hands forward a little more. Bring the knees wide. Come back to wide knee child pose. Belly between the thighs. Resting your head on stacked hands or fists or bolster or block or whatever. Gently reach out with the left arm a little more and slide the right arm, palm face up, underneath your left armpit. Come onto your right shoulder and rest the right side of the skull onto your mat or a blanket or a block. So you want your right shoulder grounded and your right skull grounded. Sweeten the breath, slow the breath. Long, slow, gentle exhale. Through pursed lips is good. If you want to make a humming sound, you can. That can slow the exhale down. Gently bring that right arm back and reach the right arm out modestly. Lift the head for a moment, reach that right arm further as you slide the left arm palm face up onto the left shoulder, turn the head to the left. Sweeten the breath here. Take your time in this twist. And then gently release. Come into child pose one more time. And then come on up, grab your blocks. Take your time. Bring your hands onto the blocks. Let's bring the left foot forward. Blocks inside the left foot. You can pad your right knee if you need to. Let's walk the right knee back a little bit and then point the toes back so we have a triple extension in that back leg. Now if that's too much, adjust the position of your knee as we hold dragon pose. As you feel invited, you can bring your hands down lower to the ground as you feel invited. So that could be turning the blocks lower, or if your hands are already on the ground. And it's always as you feel invited. So we come back to the metaphor of the flower opening in the sunlight. You check in with your hips, that right hip flexor is dictating the opening here. Some of you will be on your elbows shortly, or not. And the next invitation comes with the front foot. And that invitation is to pivot it outwards. So you create an outer rotation with that front foot. The toes might come off the mat. Sometimes with that invitation, it's accompanied with the invitation to come down even lower.
sometimes. So now the groin in the front leg and the hip flexor in the back leg are receiving an optimal opening. Make sure any of the joints that are grounded, like the elbows or the knee, are supported so you're not hurting them. Make sure the head is nice and relaxed. You can always move the head from side to side. Now gently come all the way down onto your belly and bring your left knee out to the side into half frog pose. If your left knee and left ankle are on a hardwood floor, you might want to support them with a towel or a blanket. So that right hip flexor is still being extended. If you can, come into goalpost arms into classic half frog. And most of you have done this with me before. You can bring that right hand back and rest it on your low back. And just bringing the arm back like that changes the dynamic of half frog, particularly in the low back, shoulder, and neck. You can also invite the left arm back at any time to have both hands tied behind your back, both in half bind. Relax shoulders, relax into this half frog. If your right foot gets cramped at all with the ankle extension, you can always curl the toes until the cramp goes away. Release the hands when you're ready and stack the hands under your forehead. Turn your head to the right for a moment to release the tension in the neck. Bring the head to neutral. Keep that left knee out to the left into half frog. Option to prop your elbows under your shoulders close enough so the hands can reach the upper arms, and then drop the palms into this variation of Sphinx. Let's turn the head left and right a few times. Make sure the neck is okay. And then up and down. Gently nodding the head, lifting up and dropping down. Now we've been in this position for a while, so you decide. You can come back down, stacking the hands under the forehead. You can stay where you are, or you can go a little higher into your back bend. Bring the elbows back to your ribs more. Flare out the hands, so the hands are towards the edges of the mat. And carefully straighten the arms. This is a lot of sensation, at least in my body, so if it's too much, come down. So getting right into that back inguinal and left internal thigh, low back, the abdominals. Lots going on here. Don't overdo it. For 3, 2, exhale, gently come down. Bring that left knee in. Oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh. And then push up onto all fours. Let's do some more cat and cow here. Let's check in with the low back. Prepare your blocks for dragon on this side. So this time you're going to bring the right foot forward. Have your props handy on the inside of the right foot, whether it's a bolster or blocks. Check in with your left hip flexor, and you can walk the knee back or not. Point the toes and find that appropriate stretch. Back into dragon pose. Feel that back hip flexor. And once again, when you're ready, you can start to bring the hands down lower to the floor. Take your time. Remember, we're just waiting for the hips to open. We're not rushing this. Always wait for the invitation before you come to elbows or go lower. And be considerate that each side of the hips is going to be more gracious with its invitation, more open than the other side. So listen carefully to your hips. Don't expect one side to be symmetrical necessarily. The last invitation will be the rotation or the pivot of the front foot. And that's sometimes accompanied by going lower or not. So that rotation changes the dynamic in the right groin. And if you go lower into the back hip, I like to support my head at this point either on stacked fists or hands or thumbs. There's something nice about letting the head be supported when you're in a deep dragon pose. And then slowly prepare for a transition here as you bring the hands back. You're going to bring that right knee out to the side and come onto your elbows. So you're into half frog on this side. I'll rotate so you can see that clearly. And from here, stack the hands under the forehead. Get your knee just right. Opening up that right hip to the side now as you come out into goalpost arms. And whenever we lie on the belly in our poses like this, it's going to quickly affect the nervous system and the breath. So it's a great invitation to let go and relax. When you're ready, you can bring the left hand into a half bind onto the low back. And then the right hand. Relax the shoulders, relax the neck. Now you can remain in this shape as long as you like. You can return the hands under the forehead and turn the head the opposite direction when you're ready. Bring the forehead back to center and
work on your progressions here, coming up to Sphinx pose originally. And only come up with the progressions if it feels right for your body. If you want to stay down low, stay down low. Your body might need more recovery tonight. Gently turn the head left and right. Easing up the neck. And then up and down. Last progression, if you like, is seal pose. So bring the elbows back, hands flare out to the side, and carefully straighten the arms. Once again, feeling particularly that left hip flexor and right groin area, right adductor, low back, maybe abdominals. Come down whenever you're ready and return that knee whenever you're ready. Feeling crocodile pose. Inhale, press up onto all fours when you're ready. And a little cat and cow. Come back to child pose, knees wide, and rest the head on something, stacked hands, fists, or mat. Feel the low back. And then inhale, come up. We're going to make a little restorative construction here. So I'm going to recommend blanket, bolster, block, cushions if you've got them. And to start with, bring your bolster or cushions across your mat sideways. If you've got a towel or a blanket, you can fold it up thickly. And you can use it as a headrest. So you might have pillows here, I don't know. The blocks kind of back up. If I wanted to go higher with the headrest, I could use the blanket on top of the block. That would give me a high head. Just the blanket a little bit lower.
Now you're gonna lay the side rib cage over the bolster and drop your shoulder down in the space between the blanket, the head support. Now my knees are stacked at the moment. You could stagger them. You could straighten one leg. It doesn't really matter how the legs are positioned. So long as you feel somewhat comfortable here. Head is supported. And reach that top arm gently over the head and dangle it over your head. Turn your head slightly towards the ceiling so the back of your head is resting on your pillow, and reach your top arm back behind you. Like you're waking up in the morning, you're just stretching the front of the chest. So your torso is twisted towards the back. And then rotate that arm all the way down onto your hip and lay back on your side. Make sure the right shoulder is comfortable, unpinched. The elevation of the ribs and the head should take the pressure off the right shoulder, or whatever shoulder's on the bottom. And then gently bring that top hand down to the cushion and prepare to change sides. Slowly come up. Take your time. Let the transition be nice and relaxed. So set yourself up either by just changing sides or changing orientation. Coming down onto the opposite rib cage. And start with that top arm coming and dangling over the head. Make sure the legs are comfortable.
And start to turn the head so you, if your eyes were open, you'd be gazing upwards. You feel the back of the head on your cushion, and start to bring that top arm behind you so you feel the body twisting to the back, the right body. And then bringing that arm back along the hip. Now once again, tune into your own needs here. If you're finding the work we're doing currently is restorative and necessary, allow yourself to stay in this lateral supported Shavasana. And if you're ready to transition, you can start to come up and take a comfortable seat in your own time. So you could be between those two extremes. And whatever seated position you are in, make sure it's comfortable, feels easeful, supported. And if you're ready to disembark from your aeroplane journey, bring your hands together at the chest. Let the head bow in gratitude. Namaste.